Hello, friends. Welcome back to the channel. In our last episode, we explored Chapter 3 of Handbook of Abhidhamma Studies, Volume 2, where we examined mental factors in conditional relations. We saw how wholesome factors support wholesome consciousness, how unwholesome factors condition suffering, and how mindfulness, wisdom, and compassion serve as key conditioning forces in practice. Today we turn to Chapter 4, Matter Rūpa in Conditional Relations. In Volume 1, we studied Rūpa as one of the four ultimate realities. We learned about the four great elements, earth, water, fire, and air, and the 24 derived forms of matter. Now in Volume 2, we examine Rūpa in terms of conditionality. We'll explore how physical phenomena are conditioned by kamma, consciousness, temperature, and nutriment. We'll discuss the interaction between Rūpa and citta, how mind influences body and body influences mind, and we'll emphasize that Rūpa is impermanent and dependent, never existing independently. So, if you've ever wondered, how does Buddhism explain the body? How does mind influence matter and matter influence mind? Why is matter impermanent? This chapter will give us the Abhidhamma perspective. One of the four causes of matter is kamma. Past actions produce physical results. For example, the body we inherit is conditioned by past kamma. Certain physical faculties, such as the sense organs, are kamma-produced rūpas. For example, the eye faculty arises due to past kamma. The ear faculty arises due to past kamma. The gender characteristics, femininity or masculinity, arise due to past kamma. This shows that our physical existence is not random. It is conditioned by past actions. Kamma shapes the body, providing the basis for consciousness to arise. Another cause of matter is consciousness. Certain mental states generate physical phenomena. For example, intention leads to bodily gestures, thought leads to speech. Strong emotions influence the body. Joy brings energy, sadness brings heaviness. This is called citta-produced rūpa. For example, when you decide to raise your hand, consciousness conditions the movement of the body. When you speak, consciousness conditions the vibration of the vocal cords. When you feel fear, consciousness conditions changes in the body, such as trembling. This shows the interaction between mind and body. Consciousness conditions matter, producing physical phenomena. Another cause of matter is temperature. Heat produces and sustains matter. This is called utu-produced rūpa. For example, the warmth of the body is conditioned by temperature. The growth of plants is conditioned by heat. The transformation of food into energy is conditioned by temperature. Temperature is both external and internal. External heat, such as sunlight, conditions matter. Internal heat, such as body temperature, conditions matter. This shows that matter is not static, it is conditioned by physical forces like heat. The fourth cause of matter is nutriment. Food sustains the body. This is called ahara produced rūpa. For example, the strength of the body is conditioned by food. The vitality of cells is conditioned by nutrition. The growth of the body is conditioned by sustenance. Without nutriment, the body cannot survive. This shows the dependence of matter on external support. So matter is conditioned by kamma, consciousness, temperature, and nutriment. These four causes sustain physical phenomena. Rūpa and citta interact constantly. Mind influences body. Intention leads to action. Thought leads to speech. Emotion influences physiology. Body influences mind. The state of the body affects consciousness. For example, hunger influences mood, illness influences thought, fatigue influences attention. This interaction is explained by conditional relations. For example, Consciousness condition, mental states generate physical phenomena. Nutriment condition, food sustains both body and mind. Temperature condition, heat influences both matter and consciousness. This shows the dynamic interplay of mind and matter. Neither exists independently, both are conditioned. One of the central insights of Abhidhamma is that Rūpa is impermanent and dependent. Matter arises, persists for a brief moment, and ceases. It is conditioned by causes. Without causes, it does not arise. This challenges our ordinary perception of solidity. We think the body is stable, but Abhidhamma shows that it is a stream of momentary Rūpas arising and ceasing rapidly. This insight helps us reduce attachment to the body. We see it not as me or mine, but as conditioned matter, impermanent and not self. How does this help us in practice? When we meditate, we can observe the body as Rūpa. We can notice hardness, softness, warmth, movement. We can see these as elements, not as my body. This reduces clinging. It helps us realize that the body is just matter, conditioned and impermanent. For example, when pain arises, we can analyze it as the fire element manifesting as heat or the air element manifesting as pressure. This perspective changes our relationship to pain. It becomes less personal, more objective. So the study of Rūpa in conditional relations is not just theory, it is a practical guide to seeing impermanence and non-self. Some critics say the analysis of matter is too complex. Why four causes? Isn't this over-analysis? But the purpose is precision. Just as a scientist studies atoms in detail, a meditator studies matter in detail. Another criticism is that it is too abstract, but in practice, even a basic understanding helps us see impermanence. We don't need to memorize all details, we just need to see that matter is conditioned. So, to conclude, Chapter 4 of Volume 2 examines matter in conditional relations. We've learned that physical phenomena are conditioned by kamma, consciousness, temperature, and nutriment. We've discussed the interaction between Rūpa and citta, how mind influences body and body influences mind. And we've emphasized that Rūpa is impermanent and dependent, never existing independently. Most importantly, we've seen how this helps us in practice. By observing the body as conditioned matter, we reduce attachment, understand impermanence, and cultivate wisdom. Thank you so much for joining me in this deep dive into Chapter 4 of Handbook of Abhidhamma Studies, Volume 2. We've journeyed through the causes of matter, the interaction between mind and body, and the insight that Rūpa is impermanent and dependent. If you found this exploration helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who might be interested in Buddhist philosophy and meditation. In our next episode, we'll move into Chapter 5, where we explore conditionality and dependent origination, connecting the Abhidhamma's conditional relations with the Buddha's teaching of Paticca Samuppada. Until then, may you be well, may you be peaceful, and may you continue your journey into wisdom.